All right. So, once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the ACLT's meeting and chatting with one another. My name is Kimberlyn Lopez Herrera. I am a 2020 NFTE alum. And so, what I did in high school was just basically E1. Then I moved on over to the regional and national competitions. I'm now a third year Syracuse student. I got a full ride through NFTE and currently in the ACLT. And so, an overview of the region of the Mid Atlantic area specifically. I know we have a couple folks from New York, the New Jersey area. Welcome, everyone. If everyone in the chat could put what borough they're in and just how you guys are feeling at today's meeting. And so, here at the ACLT, we do represent the Mid Atlantic area. And so basically what the ACLT is, it's a program to designed for aspiring leaders who really want to take this opportunity to sort of meet with one another and meet the needs of the NFTE alumni. And so just really supporting that NFTE vision. And so if you guys want an opportunity to give back to the NFTE students, obviously the ACLT is really welcoming to those people. And so for the event purpose for today, we wanted to give a space for reflection of your time at NFTE and perspective of what NFTE has to offer after graduation or the completion of the program. Additionally, we wanted to see if you guys saw the NFTE mindset within your own lives and what the panelists had to say about that. And so I'll take it back to Julianne.
Thanks so much, Kim. And I do want to give us just a couple minutes because I know we are waiting on a couple people. Ooh, Cleveland. All right, we're spreading out. And I know, for example, we just had Nadia, and I think she got kicked off. So there's always tech issues, and I just re-emailed the link to everyone in case the calendar invite did not go through, which may have happened. So we'll get started in just a minute here. Definitely share where you're from, and also if you want to share a little bit about maybe your own like NFTE program that you were in, what you did and what that was like. What we're going to do is in a moment, we're going to give a chance for all of our panelists to introduce themselves. We're going to go through some questions with the panelists, and then afterward, we want to open discussion. So we can address some of those questions that the panelists talked about, but also we can talk openly about resources and opportunities with the alumni network, as well as experiences and how NFTE has impacted your life. Thank you, Sahab. I love that you guys are in Cleveland because then we're getting like the reach to the other parts of the United States. That's awesome. And so in just a moment here, we will kick our panel off. I do want to note that at the end, Tony, we have just some like general slides to kind of touch on some of the general like upcoming opportunities like here at the school year end, as well as like the different ways to volunteer and engage. But if you have anything specific that you want to, drop in at any time, feel free to do so.
Yeah, of course. And I think more than anything, if you haven't already done so, I think most of y'all I've seen on Instagram, but feel free to reach out through our Instagram handle, the NFTE Alumni. That's really where a lot of our information is going, especially with our younger generation. It's really hard for us to actually like reach out to them email wise or something like that. So our social media platforms are really where we're pushing a lot of stuff. We recently found out that we do have an alumni group via LinkedIn. And so if you are part of that, you can go ahead and get more of the professional boost and get connections. But we're still on the soft launch with that because we just figured out we had that group. So please be aware that we will be doing a lot more with our LinkedIn page. But yes, there's so many stuff happening with the alumni consistently. As of right now, we just finished Founders Forum, but we are going to be opening up, and they are currently, for the NFTE Fellowship Program. This NFTE Fellowship Program is an opportunity for our alumni to really go ahead and apply to become an intern for a period of time during the summer. And what that allows is that it is a paid internship. We do fly you out to New York, but if you do have any connections with like teachers or, alumni or anyone that you may know, all of that information is in the in our Instagram handles in the applications, there is a requirement of like age requirement, and you do have to apply, but it really is just a great opportunity for a lot of our alumni to really see the back end of all the magic that happens. And that was one of my roles and biggest reasons why I continue to work with NFTE is through the fellowship. The other thing is, of course, the Founders Forum. If you were all in that process of launching or sending it, the Founders Forum is a yearly program. And so although we just finished our current one, again, the applications will be opening up around September again, so that we can go ahead and launch all over again. And so you can always keep an eye out for that. We also have a couple of opportunities that are going to be happening in Florida and in New York for the gala. And so if you do have products and you are all in New York and you have products that you can sell, we are looking for alumni that are willing to go ahead and attend our NFTE gala. And what that means is that we go ahead and give you the ticket for free, and we set you up with the table so that you can go ahead and sell your product. And so we really are either a product or service, but what we really want is to make sure that you are showcasing and that you are making sales and that you are making new contacts and connections, whether that is a product or a service. But if you are interested in that and you would be available, it is May 11th. Correct me if I'm wrong. May 11th, right? May 10th, May 11th. I'm there all week, so that's why I'm just saying something like that. But we can go ahead and send you all the information, and so it's up to you if you are available on that day, so that we can go ahead and register you for the gala, set you up with the table, and give you the opportunity to make sales. Again, NFTE is a global nonprofit, and we are always looking forward to sending any of our alumni to our global partners. Last year, we did have the opportunity to send, I believe, 2 alumni to Switzerland. This year, we're going to be sending about 5 to Austria, Europe. And so that's always something that we want to go ahead and look at and let you all know that those are opportunities that you can all get because you are alum, and we do have global partners. And so always in the lookout for great alumni. And lastly, before I take up all the time, we are going to be kicking off a video a YouTube channel. And so we're finally going to go ahead and have a video podcast, and where we are going to now start to really showcase and shine the light on a lot of our alumni. There's a lot of stories that go untold. And so this is really the platform where we really want to go ahead and share the stories, create community, and share the impact that NFTE has had. I think that more than just a class that we take in high school or, the beginning of entrepreneurship, this really is something that impacts our life in the most part. And so you are all here because NFTE means something to you. And so we really want to share your stories. And so if you are interested in ever being interviewed and, having the opportunity to sit down with me and just talk, feel free to reach out again. And we always look forward to hearing your stories. But yes, those are some of the many things that are constantly being juggled here in the alumni and post-secondary program. So I'll take it back to you.
Thank you so much, Tony, for all the information and all that your team does. I really would say, especially for the alum that have been, with NFTE for a while, things have really amped up. I think they just continue to add more and more opportunities, and it can be overwhelming because it's just so much, but it's amazing. So whatever sort of phase you're in, whatever's going on, there's some way to connect and to be a part of it. So I think this would be a great time to go ahead and jump into the panel. What I'm going to do is just quickly say a hello. I'm going to invite all of our panelists to introduce themselves. We're going to ask questions of our panelists, but then as we finish up that piece of it, we also want to involve everybody and make it more of the open discussion kind of format. So, all right, let's get going. Again, my name is Julianne Casper, and I'm on NFTE staff here in Mid-Atlantic. I'm physically located in Houston today, but in Philadelphia. And I come from an educator background. So that's always the real focus for me is the student experience. And then as you transition to alumni, making sure that NFTE has brought an impact to your life and how we can continue to impact your life. And then also giving alumni opportunity to kind of come back and re-engage. So I'd love to open it to our panelists to introduce yourselves, give us your name, tell us briefly, how you engaged with NFTE, maybe the year that you were part of NFTE, the program that you did, and just a quick note on kind of where you're at. I know you're going to talk more about what your life is like right now, but if you're a student, if you're working, what field you're in, just give us a quick hello. And Genevieve, let's start with you.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so my name is Genevieve Santos-Ban. I am a proud alum of, oh my God, like 2001. So I've been involved with NFTE on and off for the last like 20 plus years. And I'm just really excited to have gotten reconnected with NFTE last year when I attended the gala. And I wanted to, let my voice be known with the alumni. And so I joined the ACLT. I'm currently a full-time entrepreneur. I am a spa owner. I have my own suite in Long Island. I'm located in Westbury, to be exact. I rent out of a suite in it's kind of like a salon suite area, and it's just been a great ride. I'm also an aesthetics trainer and educator, and I'm just it's not easy being an entrepreneur, but you got to do it anyway. So I'm excited to be here tonight.
And we're so happy to have you. Let's pass it to Chadu.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Oh, happy Friday, Junior. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Chadu. I did a NFTE summer program back in 2014, which was right before senior year of high school. And then from then on, I have gotten the chance to intern at NFTE, volunteer since then. So that's been my engagement. My 9 to 5, I am a senior project manager within the technology field. And then my 5 to 9 is I do event planning. That's relatively new, but that's just a passion, and I'm finally ready to follow it. And a fun fact about me is I love cooking. It truly comes from the heart, and I just enjoy any and all recipes. So if someone has a favorite recipe, feel free to drop it in the chat.
I am not going to be that person. I'm so glad that other people like cooking because I don't, but I'll eat your food. And I'm going to pass it to Kim.
So good afternoon, everyone, again. So my full name is Kimberlyn, but generally I go by Kim. I graduated the first NFTE program that I had in my high school in 2020. I went to the competition in 2020 again. And it's been really exciting so far being a junior in high school. I'm a double major in English and Spanish. I grew up in the Brooklyn area, but right now I'm in Peekskill, which is about 30 minutes away from the city. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here and be amongst everyone. It's been really inspiring being part of the program for the last 3 years, it seems like, because I'm always in connection with a lot of people through the program. And a fun fact about me, I guess, is I'm a really bad baker, but I can cook. So I think it's just putting things in the oven that's a little bit terrifying.
All right, so the oven is the beast. All right. Thank you, Kim. And I'm going to pass it to Nellie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nellie. I attend the Academy of Finance and Enterprise. I will be starting college this fall, and I plan to major in business administrations. I took the NFTE course my junior year, so I graduated from the NFTE course in 2022. I was a finalist for the NFTE Yes Challenge, which qualified me for nationals. And yeah, and now I'm part of the ACLT group.
Thank you so much, Nellie. And thank you, all four of you. Hopefully what you noticed is that our panelists span a really large range of Nifty experiences over many years. And so one of the really cool things about this opportunity to reconnect is that we're seeing how Nifty can impact and lead to so many different experiences in different types of life, different walks of life, and different stages of life. So let's get into some of our questions. I'm going to direct these to a couple of you specifically, but also if anyone else wants to jump in and answer as well, we do open the floor. So the first question, I'm going to start with you, Charu, and then kick it to Kim afterwards. And just to get us started is about your mindset. So at Nifty, we have the entrepreneurial mindset with skills like opportunity recognition, communication, collaboration, flexibility, comfort with risk. And I wonder, from like sort of the before and after perspective, how Nifty has impacted your mindset or shaped it over time.
I like to call myself very fortunate because when I took the Nifty course, I was 16 or 17. I think I was 17. It was still in high school. And I think that is a very formative age where the way you view things is still coming together. It's very malleable. So having learned the idea that you can fail and it's okay really early on really instills in you a very fearless attitude, no matter where you go. And I think since then, having finished high school and then finishing college, everything that happened in the span of 4 to 6 years and counting right now has been with the attitude of I can do it. And there's no ifs and buts. I don't need to know everything. I can still do it. So I think just going into every situation with the idea that I can do it and I will figure it out really leaves a lot of room for a lot of innovation, just trying out different things and really becoming a very well-polished person overall. And I think that helped a lot, especially in college, because a lot of times students finish college or go into college with the notion that your major needs to equate to your career, when in reality, there's literally no correlation. You could major in linguistics and be a software developer, which has a lot of connection. But really, I think going into college with the mindset that just trying is worth it, fail fast, do quick, fail fast. I think that's the idea behind it, like a very agile thought. And I think that's just been something that has really set me up for success, no matter where I've gone or where I'm headed. And I think that is a core value at this point, at least for me. But I'll let Kim add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in high school, I took the Nifty 1 course, and in a practical sense, that class was incredibly formative, as Charu put it, in the sense that we learned how to do things like budgeting, something that, because of my high school being in a Title I place and it being mostly minority populations, obviously these sort of financial literacy skills aren't really taught in a classroom setting. So we had that opportunity to like talk amongst each other and really have that space for reflection. But in a more, I suppose, in a more poetic way, Nifty has sort of taught me that before like you can mentor others, like you have to learn to dedicate time to yourself to learn. And so sort of like developing that just through just my relationship with other mentors here at Nifty, and sort of building that relationship with myself and reflection of like how I can motivate myself to be an entrepreneur, as Charu put it. And so just really having that really solidified foundation was something that I accomplished through Nifty and really has changed my mindset.
Thank you both for sharing. And I do want to open it up. I think the mindset is, I feel like over maybe the last 15 years, the idea of a growth mindset has become so much more of a thing that we understand, that like failure and learning and growth are so important. And I also wonder for those of you that maybe have more time since you did the Nifty program, if you feel like you can notice a difference maybe between the way that you see things, the way that you take in things or consider challenges versus like maybe your colleagues that didn't go through Nifty, or, are those pieces of the mindset something that have impacted your experiences? And I'm going to open that to anybody that might want to respond. And feel free to unmute.
There you go. Oh, hey. All right. So I was trying to find the mute button on my phone. So I have a very unique story. I'm gonna try to be quick at this. So back when I was a part of the Nifty program, I created a business plan, and it wasn't until roughly 2 years ago I actually acted on it. I mean, in between time, I was really focused on investment real estate and things of that sort, and still kind of taking the Nifty principles along the way. But just last year, yeah, I had a business that I created, and I'm gonna be completely honest with everybody, it was a total misery. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we made a lot of money, me and my team, but certain principles that I did learn, I didn't carry with me, but I take this as was more of a learning experience, like the last person, I forgot her name, she just mentioned, you try early or go try early, fail early, something like that. I can't remember how she said it, but nevertheless, I do see a lot of the principles that I learned in Nifty that should have been applied, but I didn't apply it. But going back and looking at my old business plan and some of the things I missed, and eventually I'm gonna go try something, similar, but it's just a matter of, I do see the difference. I see what I learned, what I should have used, things of that sort. Yeah.
I love a good fail good story and the learning from, because man, life is the best teacher, isn't it? So I love that. And I appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think someone else had also come off mute about the same time. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to share.
Yeah, so for me personally, after taking the Nifty course, one of the things that really stuck with me was taking every problem and like wanting like to personally solve it myself. Like I suddenly like gained this ambition. And even with my own business plan, which was a service, it was a picnic service, even that, like I hope to one day actually put that and, test the waters and actually execute that business plan and try to solve that problem that I personally struggled with organizing picnics and put it to the test. That would be amazing.
All right. I don't want to cut it off. I'm going to go to the next question, but please feel free to jump in on the next section if this is a topic that was really interesting to you. So my next question, I'm going to start with you, Genevieve, and then go to Nellie after that, and then we can open it up. I wonder, over the course of your experiences, and this can be business related, Nifty related, or totally unrelated, but I wonder how you've leveraged tools like mentors. I know that Kimberlyn was already talking about that earlier, and things like networking, where you're really leaning on the people around you to achieve your goals. This could be something more formal, like a Nifty mentor or coach, or, a networking event, or this could just be those like spontaneous opportunities that end up supporting, getting you where you want to go. And so, Jen, if you want to speak to that, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So I mean, networking is it to me, it's just creating connections and building relationships, so I'm so glad that, I, just like an example right now, like I had put on my Facebook page, I was like, oh, any Nifty alumni, and then, Antoinette, replied back, and I was just, it was great because like we got to have that reconnection again. And, it's just like, I always look fondly on my Nifty years because, like at the time we don't know it, but later, like looking back, I'm like, how many people get to like learn how to start a business at like 16 years old? Like, that's so cool. Like I did summer biz camp. So basically, whatever was in a semester, I learned in 2 weeks. So, ever since then, it's just been, I've been fortunate to increase my network, not just through NFTE, but, outside, especially being a beautypreneur, like you definitely need the mentorship when you're starting out. Even if it's just like getting a coffee, or like now we could do virtual appointments or virtual meetings. It's just like mentorship has really played a big part in my career and my business and my life, all like in general. Yeah.
Go
So,
for it, Allie.
so for me, through NFTE, I've been able to network with people my own age, which I really appreciate, because even like during the national competition, I remember we all got like our own booths, and we were all able to talk and learn about like other people's business ideas. That really stuck with me, because now I was able to see how like the different problems they were trying to solve, and like we still stay in contact till this day and update each other on whatever part of our high school journey we're in. And we have built this bond, and it's really nice. And as far as mentorship goes, I've been able to create these career goals for myself that I hope to achieve once I start college this fall. And more specifically, now I have a better understanding of what I'd like to pursue once I start college. So I really appreciate that.
I love when sometimes it'll just be a single conversation. Maybe the person you're talking to has a job that you had never heard of, or they see something in you that you hadn't noticed. And it's like that one connection can kind of clarify what you want to do with your future, or, whatever next step you want to take. I'd love to open that up, to anyone in the room. If you have that experience with a mentor or with networking where a connection has just really changed, your trajectory or opened up an opportunity for you, we'd love to hear your story.
Okay, well, I'll start it off. I'm Antoinette, of course. So I have a salon in Cleveland, Ohio. And how I got started was from pretty much a connection where one of my girlfriends was I did cosmetology in high school, but one of my girlfriends, she was a client to the salon that I bought from the lady, I think 11 years ago now. And, one day they just was like, hey, we need a shampoo girl. And I was in 11th grade. So she called me and I went to the salon, and I started shampooing in 11th grade. So pretty much one of my best friend was the girl that, connected me with the salon to shampoo. And later on down the line, I ended up buying a salon from the lady that I shampooed for. So till today, we are all still together. But I'm gonna back it up just a little bit back. So when I first got into NFTE, me and my husband was in high school. So that's between 2005, 2007. And it was a program called eCity, which was founded by John Zissner, but we used the curriculum of NFTE. So when I won the national, I was a national winner from that business plan. That business plan was called Urban Beauty, which was a booth that I pretty much was going to rent, which I was doing it already, kind of, sort of. And that's what I wrote my business plan out. And Miss Ban, I messed your name up. She was actually one of my judges. And so I still have your paper too, with everything written out. And so I was a national winner. And so, just networking with different people can get you into doors that I didn't even know was going to go this far. And so the Urban Beauty business plan that I wrote turned into, which is now Salon Productions. And I've had it for 11 years now. And I've learned a whole lot. Failures, up and down. I have people, lead a salon. I have to find more people to come in. So I rent space to other entrepreneurs. I have 2 nail techs, 1 braider, and 2 other hairstylists. And I'm also doing my business from one of the booths in the salon. So networking is key. And so for me, over the years, I feel like I have lacked so much continuing to build networks and, you know, reaching back out to people. And I'm just ready to get back into networking and building more relationships, because right now I'm ready to like move on to expand some of my expand some things within my business. And I just feel like I need to step out, tell my story. Like, I've been doing hair since 2005. So that's what, 18 years, you know, and I've had my salon for 11. So I have so much to share to the world. And I just need to start opening my mouth up. And I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. So I just need to open my mouth up and network with people, because networking is really key, and it can really get you in the door, or, you know, expand yourself. So that's all.
What
I'm hearing is that we should talk and get you into this podcast, right? That's what I'm hearing. No, but I think that's a beautiful story. And again, this is the opportunity to really share your work. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we want to have this podcast. One, because social media is such a huge platform, right? But then attention span is also something that we're constantly fighting for. But I think that's the beauty of podcasts that are really happening. And this is why it's booming so much, because people are just interested in stories. We were in literally the end of the world, a pandemic, and then all of a sudden you start to realize that, oh my gosh, so much happened. I don't want to be alone anymore. I want to know about others and meet others. And it's a beautiful thing to network and to make connections and, you know, all that beautiful story. But I think mentorship is also so important, and especially for our older alumni. The hardest part for us as the alumni in post-secondary program is retention, right? We serve thousands of students, and yet we cannot keep them, you know, going, or we lose touch. We have their school email and not their personal email. So how do we get retention? How do we get, you know, our older, more seasoned alum like you and Genevieve, you know, and your husband, to guide and, you know, mentor and inspire younger generations? And I think that's the mentorship, especially with people of color, right? I think the community of the POC is so hard, because we don't see people that look like us in the boardroom. We don't see people like us, you know, even as judges. And we definitely here at NFTE try to make sure that we are as diverse and as you know, welcoming as we can be. But I think it's important to make sure that we have people that look like us, that have been through situations like us, so that we can empathize and mentor. But beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really hope that you can be in touch with Tony, because she would love to tell your story and would love to connect you. And I think this is, and it's just amazing. Like, Jen was your judge, you know, 18 or, you know, 15, 18 years ago. And then here we are today. It's really amazing, the way that those connections can hold out. And sometimes, you know, Sahab, you spoke to this as well with your business idea. We see this a lot with alumni. They'll go through our programs. They might be like Nellie's age, Kim's age. They're still in school. They're doing a different degree. They're following a different path. And like 10 years later, they're like, you know what? I want to start that business. And they pull out their nifty papers, you know, maybe their judge rubric or their business plan, and they get it going. And, you know, whether it's a learning experience or a business that takes off, I think that kind of like enduring, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the fact that the experience can extend itself so long is really something unique to NFTE, and something that we're really going for. You know, we want to be able to support people and extend.
And also, just to quickly add, you know, when I did start that business that I created years ago, I actually went through some of my NFTE books. I brought my NFTE books and figured out, okay, what was it that I said I was going to do then I need to do now? And that's a unique part, again, getting to some of these younger alumni, is that don't lose touch of what you learn, you know, because a lot of those things, it will come back and haunt you. It will come back, you know, saying to where it's going to be extremely beneficial. So just staying fresh, you know, with a lot of those topics is going to get you through a lot of moments. So.
Absolutely. And Sahab, I really appreciate that you totally just set up my next question really well. So I'm going to start this one with our current students. So I'm going to go to Kim and then to Nellie, but then I want to open it up as like the past perspective. So the first question from the current perspective is I want to hear from you guys, and it doesn't have to be a ton or anything super special, but just in general, maybe it is a mindset approach. What are you doing right now while in school to set yourself up for success? What does that look like in 2023? Because I know it probably looks different than when I was in school, and probably different when Rob was in school, which was like a really long time ago. So no, I'm just kidding. Rob's going to beat me up for that on Monday. But you know, what does that look like for you right now? What are you doing to set yourself up for success? And then I open it up to all of us, you know, if you can think of, you know, if you were going to offer advice to a young person that's in school, you know, what sorts of tools or approaches would you maybe recommend? So let's start with you, Kim, and then Nellie.
Yeah, so I'm almost completing my bachelor's right now. Next year is my last year, and then I'm going to go on to my master's. And something that I've learned the hard way is that it never ends. You're never going to be this perfect version of yourself. You always have to sort of build onto like bettering and bettering yourself. And that's just kind of the nature of being a human. And so the things that I kind of did when I came to that realization was that like, oh, like I need to like try and see what I'm passionate about. And something that I learned from Nifty and sort of being in Nifty in high school, which I think is really a really fortunate thing to do, just because you learn all of these like really important skills, such as like public speaking, organization, things like that, that would really serve you into bettering yourself. But something that I did in college, sort of like transferring all of those Nifty skills and those high school skills, was really just building a better network. And so I know that I'm a little bit late to this question, but building a solid networking is really important. And I think that it's just one of those things that when you do in your life, and you'll never stop doing them, it's really important to do that, especially in school and in sort of these professional circles such as this one.
For me, it would definitely, what has set me up for success has been working on my public speaking skills. I've noticed a lot that now really strengthening up those public speaking skills has helped me a lot in my high school journey, just because there's always like whether it's talking during a board meeting, like representing the school or giving speeches, it's like it's a skill you're going to need even in college and beyond college as well. So Nifty has really helped me with that, especially with, I remember all the weekly coaching, and I remember we also got to present in front of Santander volunteers, if I'm not wrong. And that has all really helped me, because the more I do it, the more comfortable I become with it. And I really like that, because I'm picking that up at a young age, and hopefully it keeps improving moving forward as well.
And I just have to jump in before anyone else answers that is incredible. Like, Nellie, you're representing your school at board meetings. I've seen you're participating in like our national videos for Nifty. You've spoken in front of large audiences, you've pitched. Kim, I know you did all those same things. And also just to recognize that for you both to be doing that kind of networking and involvement at this age and stage in your life, like for a high school or college student to understand networking and to be getting into that so young is like, you might not realize how impressive that is, but it's very impressive. So I just wanted to do a little shout out moment. But I'd love to hear from anybody else. You know, when you were in school, what sorts of things can you look back and say, like, either maybe you did it and it kind of led to success later? You know, I know like Antoinette, your experience, you know, in that sort of networking position, even just in 11th grade, really led to future things. But also maybe just as, you know, another perspective to it, maybe there's something you didn't do and you wish you had done when you were in high school or in school, like in college. I'm just curious.
Well, again, one of the things that I beat myself up about is networking. It was a lot of different people that I came in contact with. When I came back from New York with Nifty, I actually spoke in front of a whole lot of people. They had this really big breakfast, and I was in a newspaper and just all this stuff. And I just hate that I did not keep in contact, like literally have a paper, and anybody that I came in contact with that I could today reach back out to, I wish I would have kept those relationships and just build on those relationships, like the newspaper lady and just all kind of different people that I've came across. So now what I'm working on is really keeping those contacts and continue to build relationships with those people, because it's going to be times when you need to go back to that. You need to. So I have a lot of different things, but that is one of the largest things that I feel that I should have done, but it's not too late. I can start now, but definitely keep up with people and build relationships, and again, networking, because it really, really will help.
Also, I'd like to add something too. Financial literacy is so critical. After I got out the NFTE program, I got into real estate. I'm still into real estate. I've been involved in real estate a little over 10 years now, investment real estate. And unfortunately, I didn't take a lot of the financial courses that I learned and principles. I didn't apply that to the most recent business I created, but just in my day-to-day practice of my day job, you could say as an investment broker, the tools and resources of financial literacy, it is crucial. That's to any business. I practice every day with clients with investment properties, but really understanding what's the income statement, what's a balance sheet, how to read a cash flow statement, even some of those investment ratios like IRR, things of that sort. Just understanding different concepts, investment strategies, and just being financial literate in general. Budgeting too, of course.
I'm just going to second that. Any other thoughts there? Maybe either something you did that you're really glad you did while you were still in school, you're still really young, or maybe something that you feel like you missed an opportunity and would recommend it to other young NFTE students or alumni.
For the people that are going to college, do not take out any student loans. Try to find ways to get scholarships, just like Kim did, getting a full ride, but do not get student loans, because that's like one of my regrets, because like I got sucked into the peer pressure of like going away for school, and I went to university at Buffalo, but I only stayed there for 2 years, and then I ended up transferring to City College. And it's like, I was like, damn, like I'm still paying for like my first 2 years of college, and I'm not even using my degree. So yeah, like that's probably one of my regrets, but like it's all a learning process, and you just have to move forward. But just try to, just as like you're starting a business and you're trying to reduce your expenses, like that's definitely what you need to do as a college student too, when it comes to going into your undergrad, especially since like people don't even, like, majority of people don't use their degrees out of school. So yeah, just get that degree for the cheapest amount possible.
And Jen, I think your answer really taps into the two previous, because it's financial literacy and understanding the numbers beyond just like this broad, college costs this much, but it's also, it can be networking, because I think as like an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old, it can be really difficult to really understand what you're working with. But when you have connections to people who are exposed to college and can talk to you about those things, and you're willing, you get that comfort with risk where you're going to start a conversation about it, whether it's a counselor at school or someone in your community that's been to college. I think those connections and just the chance to sit down and like talk to someone about their experience can help you kind of sort out, okay, what do I really need to do and what are the best choices for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other thoughts? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Jen, didn't mean to talk over you. Any other thoughts on sort of that perspective of either, you know, something you did that really set you up for success from a young age, or that you wish that you did? And then we'll move to our final official question.
I guess I'll just
Oh
add.
my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, go ahead.
I guess something that I wish I did more in the last couple of years is not be shy when it came to owning up my accomplishments. Because as women and as people of color, we tend to underestimate and undersell ourselves at any given occasion. And I feel like reflecting back and going forward, I feel like owning my accomplishments would be something I would do differently in the school of life.
Oh my gosh, completely agree. I just put it in the chat too. Imposter syndrome, it hits hard all the time. I don't know if it's just me, but that's that. And I think one thing that I wished I would have done when I was younger is ask questions. I think that I always was taught to be like, oh no, yes, okay, I get it. Do you get it? And I was like, yeah. So when I first started as an intern for NFTE, I had always been a server, and I'm Mexican, immigrated from Mexico when I was like 2 years old, raised in the States, but my mindset was always I have to work. And so I worked in like real you know, like selling stuff, or I worked in, you know, serving, and serving was my job for like 5-6 years. And so when I started working at an office at NFTE was my first official like office job. I didn't know how to use a printer. I didn't know how to use a coffee machine. I didn't know how to use like the main laptops. I remember when I started typing, I would still type like real slow. And Bracy Fuentes at that time, who was the program manager coordinator there, was she would tell me to do something, and I was like, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. Google and YouTube were my best friends. Let me tell y'all, like I would Google and YouTube how to print from like this specific printer, because even at this age, I'm almost 30 and I still can't print because none of these printers work the same. But you know, I think that was my thing. And I was like, I was always so intimidated to ask questions because I was like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm dumb. Like, how do you not know how to use a coffee machine? I know how to use an industrial coffee machine because that's the one we use at work, but I don't know how to use a simple coffee machine pour over or something like that. And so I think that was one of my biggest things, asking questions. As dumb as I may think it might be, you know, someone else in that room might be having the same exact questions. And so now I'm that person who asks questions, or even the acronyms. Oh my gosh, NFTE has this habit of using acronyms all the time. And I'm like, yo, y'all need to let me know, what does this stand for? Because I have no idea. And so, you know, little things like this, and where it even as dumb as it may seem in the moment, I always feel better when I do ask, because then that's clarity for me. And I have to learn how to work smarter, not harder, because all the time that I used on Google and YouTube could have actually been on like doing the assignment. So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I wish I would have done more is ask questions, ask for help, because as a single mom, that's also really hard for me to ask for help. And so I think that asking questions, asking for help is one of the biggest things, you know. And I agree with you, Sharu, you know, like imposter syndrome hits hard, and just like, no, I did that. Like, yeah, I did that, y'all. Like, hooray for me. And empowering others to do the same thing.
You did do that. And Tony is a master of empowering others. And I think you really live that example. And we certainly appreciate you. These were some amazing pieces of advice. And I just hope everyone knows I am taking notes, so I will be quoting you later. I think I want to move to kind of one final, like, bigger question. I want to get everybody's input. I actually would love if we just kind of bop around and everybody answers. So I'm going to put everybody on the spot. It's not a hard question though. And then we'll transition to talking about, and we have a couple slides just to give us kind of a visual guide, talking about the current like opportunities and what's going on, resources, that kind of stuff. And then we can go into questions and do our raffle. So my last question, and I'm just going to go in the order that I see people, so I'm going to call on you, is what does success mean to you? Because I think success can look a lot of different ways, especially for people in different stages of life, but also just with all the different goals and priorities that we might have. To give you a couple seconds to process what what you want to say, I'll just kind of give some thoughts on my definition, and then we'll start jumping around. And I'm going to go with all our nifty alumni, so staff, other than Tony, but staff, if you want to just chill, that's cool too. So I think success for me is when someone feels like they've taken the risk that they needed to take, whether that worked out or not, and they feel like they are working towards what makes them happy. Because I really struggle with like the feeling that if it's not perfect right now, that it's not good. That's my personal problems. So I'm working towards the idea that like if I'm trying towards these things, that's success. So in order on my screen, next is going to be Nellie and then Jen.
For me, success means like being happy and content with with where you are in life right now. And not only that, but just loving whatever it is that you're working on or doing, finding like that passion, like finding your calling almost. Like I believe that's what success is.
So to me, success looks like, like just like being happy in the process of achieving your goal, because like we get so concerned about like, all right, if I don't know, if I'm making like 100K per year, then I'll be happy. But like, why can't you just be happy where you're at right now and just like strive for something more? So, amongst estheticians, like there's that pressure of like, oh, you gotta make 6 figures or else you're not making it. But I'm like, like if you're covering your expenses and, you got a little left over and you can go on vacation and stuff like that, like that's success, and you get to do what you love. So for me, it's just what it looks like is like doing what you love, but also loving the process in between.
Loving the process. I love that. Okay, on my screen, I've got Charu and then Kim.
I guess success for me, first and foremost, is being healthy physically, mind and soul, all of it, because I feel like, especially I've lived on the eastern side of the world and I've lived on the west, and out in the west, the pressure to have a job or constant hustle, like that culture can be very consuming. So at least success for me is being able to draw that boundary that I am not the work that I do, regardless of what it is that I do. I am a whole person without the job, without the hustle, without being an entrepreneur. I am a whole person. So for me, success feeling that sense of wholeness within yourself in its entirety and not relying on a job or anything third, like external. That is how I would define success for me.
Oh my gosh, can I just interrupt real quick, because you and I, Shara, are on the same page, and I think that I'll share because it's that. I think success to me is being present. And so to me, that has changed so many times, right? And so within time, I've learned that success is being grateful and acknowledging the present. And I think that for a really long time, I was stuck in the past, or I was looking too far ahead into the future, right? And so I am a single mom of a baby boy with Down syndrome. So I never finished school. When I was in school, I got pregnant. And then I was like, well, it's fine, I could do it. And then I found out that my son has Down syndrome. I dropped everything. And then it was until I started to work and really get into that field of like, okay, I'm in this situation, I'm present. Am I successful? Am I enough? Am I doing enough? And so I think that now that I'm getting closer to my 30s, it's about being present. What about today am I successful? It's about gratitude of the moment. I'm alive. My son is alive. The people around me are happy and healthy. I think the pandemic also showed us that, what a success after going through a pandemic that changed, right? That it's a lot of times I was just like, oh, I'm gonna work for the corporate world and that's what I want to do. And I'm just like, oh no, working for the nonprofit sector and working from home. Before it was like, oh, I'm gonna have a corner office. And I'm just like, nah, I think working from home and being able to work globally and wherever I want with my computer is the goal. So I think I agree with Shadu, and I think success is being present. It's what is happening today, planning for the future, but not being stuck on it, and being grateful for the past, but being present in the moment. What is happening to me today that I am happy, I'm healthy, I'm doing something, and always working to get better, because that's the beauty of humanity, that we are flawed and we are constantly changing and evolving and learning. And so being grateful for the present and what we are currently now, because we never know what's going to happen later on in the future, but today and the now is what counts. And that to me is what success. If today was a good day, tomorrow can be a better one.
That's beautiful. And also I think with, social media and everything, like, we are not trained to be in the present. It is a real skill to be able to be present. So I think that's a really wonderful perspective. All right. So on my screen, I've got Kim and then Sahab and Antoinette, if you'll wrap us up.
Great. So as I'm sort of like looking like back on everyone's comments, it's really nice to just sort of like have this sort of space of reflection, just because oftentimes I sort of lose myself with sort of these like large material goals of like, okay, I'm in college, now I have to apply to law school. After law school, like, what am I going to do? What's going to be my paycheck? And so sort of like having that time of reflection is my form of success, and sort of finding accomplishment and the sort of little steps that sort of build up to that big goal. Just because sort of if you lose yourself inside that goal, like you start losing meaning of why you're even trying to approach that goal, like what does it all mean? And so sort of still rekindling that passion inside of myself and like what I want to do. Like, for example, this meeting right here is a success for me. Sort of just building that network and sort of really concreting something that we've been planning for a long time. I think sort of having that space for reflection for those small little things is really important as well.
Steve Mariotti wrote a book. He quoted a statement in the book years ago I read. He mentioned, he said, success is a journey, the journey that you walk rather than a destination. And I live by that sense. I mean, I've been involved in investment real estate, commercial real estate for like over 10 years now. I had some tremendous successes. I mean, I sold over 20 million in real estate within my time frame. At the same time, I had some failures. I muffled a business that I was making a lot of money from. So to me, success is the fact that I'm putting my best foot forward, whether I win, whether I lose, the fact that I'm doing it, and I'm looking forward to the vision itself. I'm actually walking the path. I'm actually trying my best. So it's not so much of a destination, but rather the path, the journey that I'm going through.
Well, I used to think about success just knocking everything out, get my bachelor's degree and opening up my salon. But throughout the time, during my journey, I've realized just being physically, mentally, and spiritually grounded, like just knowing that, I have a higher power, just keeping my body together physically, because without that, being an entrepreneur, it was just running. And so I've learned that, physically, I have to eat. I have to not skip meals and, all of those things, which, and just having, being spiritually connected and just being stable. So somebody else mentioned, it's the pressure with social media and all of these things and all the materialistic things and just all of that, I've really been, for the last maybe going on 4 years, I've really been working physically, mentally, and spiritually with myself and just wanting to just be stable. If my salon is producing this revenue and I can bring home this profit and it's enough to make sure that, we still have our house and, our 2 boys are okay and, we happy, or we could take a little trip or a big trip regardless. But, I just look at success that way now rather than just having all these materialistic things that, for me, it just really doesn't matter. And especially when you go through hardships and you just start to, as you grow and as you live and, you know, you go through different things in life, I've realized that success is just being stable, and just being grateful, you know, for the things that I actually have. Just like someone else said, just being present. I spent a lot of time planning the future, and the future is going to look like this. And honestly, being mad at things in the past, but just standing in the present and just being stable and grateful. So that's what success looks like for me today.
That's beautiful. I have to hop off, but before I do, I have another meeting to go to. Just if we can take a quick picture so that I can share it with everyone, and Kenny, who wasn't here today, but y'all want to get picture ready, you know, fix the hair. I'll count to 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Oh, thank you, Julianne, for this incredible thing. Please share the recording with us. I'm happy to share clips and bits on our social media, but it was a pleasure meeting with y'all. I added my contact, but if you do ever feel the need to reach out to me, feel free to reach out through our social media platforms. I am in charge of them, so I will always be the one to answer to y'all. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you all soon. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony.
Right.
And Chadu, did you still want to jump in there?
Yes, and that I
Okay.
think what I would love to leave this group with is there was a lot of talk about past and the future and the present, but if you ever find yourself fixated on something, take a moment to, of course, breathe, recenter yourself, and really reflect back to the 16-year-old self of what you were at that age and what you wanted. And a lot of times, or it could be any age, 16 is arbitrary, of course, and really reground yourself that you actually have accomplished a lot and you are some version of that self who you wanted it to be. So if something's not working out in this moment, it's okay, worked out for your 18 or 16-year-old self, and things will be okay. And I really, again, really coming back to gratitude, really thankful for everyone that made it today. Really, this is the start to something beautiful. And at this point, I'll pass it over to Julie.
Thank you, Chadu. And thank you all so much for your input today. I totally echo just the huge gratitude for your time and presence. And, you know, Kim, I really like the way you mentioned, like, this is just gratitude for this space to reflect and to be together. And really one of our goals is to have more opportunities like this. This is something we're really coming into, and all of you on the ACLT, like, I think this is a goal that, you know, you are helping realize and make happen. I just want to take a couple moments. I only have like 2 slides, so I promise it's going to be really fast. And basically, I just want, oh, that's the wrong slide. We'll talk about the raffle in a minute. Oh gosh, it's like circle of death. I don't know what's going to happen. But basically, I just want to give an overview of kind of the current landscape. I know Tony already told us a lot. I know I personally am a visual person, so I really like to be able to like see what we're talking about. If it's not going to let me present, that's fine. I don't need to present. I can just put it like this. Okay, so just kind of an overview of like alumni opportunities in general. There's a couple of buckets. So we have fellows, which are usually college age. So these are like internships. We've actually got Nishita, who's joined us, who's been a fellow before. Charlie, were you a fellow as well in the past? Okay, you've just done everything else. Charlie's done all the things, just hasn't been a fellow. And I think there might be a few people on here that have also applied to be fellows for this coming year. So one note is for if you fall in this group and you are college age and you wanted to apply to be a fellow, then that application closes at the end of the month. Also, as a note, all of this I'll send up in a follow-up email with like links and stuff so everything can be accessed. We've also got scholarships for those college-bound NFTE alums. So we've got the one that Kim is on right now at Syracuse. We've also got one to Cornell. And in addition, for those of you that compete, so I know lots of you have had competition experience with NFTE, our partner and sponsor EY also does a scholarship, Entrepreneur of the Year, that's actually based in different metros. So instead of being like one region, you get one scholarship, it's actually like Philadelphia and New York and like DC or whatever cities. So that's just another opportunity. So, as you are going back to your networks and you have people that that maybe were also NFTE alum, if you have people that would fall into some of these categories or be interested, tell them to reach out to us so we can get in touch. We have the network in general. So if we think of that concept of networking, things like this, where we're connecting, we have, so this is our region. So the Mid-Atlantic, including sort of people who attended within this area. But the alumni network is national and international. And people like Tony are sharing their incredible resources, which includes specific offerings like scholarships and stuff, but also it might be like a financial literacy tool or like a webinar series from a partner, like, a series on budgeting or a series on current trends in a certain, like in the tech industry and things like that. So there will be all kinds of different resources that come out of that. If you don't get emails, like if you don't get emails from like alumni@nifty.com, like the broad emails, let us know and we can make sure that you have, that you're registered. And also I will make sure that link to register goes in with the email that I sent. So all of this will be in follow-up. And finally, and I think this is really a good place to talk with this group, and I know that some of you have spoken to it over the course of our discussion, is volunteering. So all of you have had a NFTE experience that was unique and that impacted your life and that I bet you wish lots of young people would have, right? And I'm sure that as part of your NFTE experience, a lot of you interacted with, we've talked about mentors, right? Those older figures, whether they were NFTE alum or just business leaders that, volunteered in an event or coached or judged, that impacted your experience and maybe the way you saw yourself as a young person. And so on this next slide, I just want to talk about kind of different types of opportunities. Things have changed since COVID. So we have different things. We have things that are all online, and we also have in person, depending on location. And that always kind of comes and goes because, schools are also still struggling with, COVID outbreaks and all kinds of crazy stuff. But generally speaking, we have times where volunteers like you could come in to be a guest speaker and speak with students more in this kind of panel sort of format, which is always really cool because you do get that opportunity to tell your story and for kids to ask you questions. And it's always a really cool experience. And it feels a little bit more intimate because you're able to kind of speak directly with students. Our coaches are a huge part of deepening that business learning. So when students are working through their business plan, the teachers are doing the best they can to support them, but they've got maybe 100 students, right? So for you to come in as a coach and look at that student's business plan and give them feedback on where they're at and how it's going and ask them questions and support them and encourage them can make a huge difference. We also do events and field trips. Field trips, not as much nowadays, although it still happens, but a lot of corporate groups have gotten away from the office space. They're doing work from home. So it's a little bit different nowadays. But we often do events that are kind of field trips for the students, where we're bringing in students and school groups and then groups of volunteers, kind of like a big coaching opportunity. We did one of those a couple weeks ago in New York, and Nelly and Charu were there with us. And so really that experience is that coaching opportunity with like big groups of students, and it's a very exciting thing. They're out of school, right? They're like not in the school building, so they're having fun. It's a fun environment. And I do want to say a huge plug for the fact that we now have our official date and location for our big final regional competition for this year. So in New York City at Chelsea Piers at the Sunset Terrace on a Saturday. So we're going to do a daytime event. It's going to be like 12 to 2 or so. We'll have our finals. And if you had any ability to join us there, if you wanted to be, involved and help support, or if you just want to kind of show up and network with the young people and network with our other partners, we would love to have you. So please let us know. And I'll have information in the follow-up email as well. And then finally, over time, and again, I know some of you have done this. So like Jen, we obviously know that you have been a judge, and we love to have our alumni judge because you've been in those student shoes. you've done the pitch presentation, you created the business plan as a young person. And so you really have the perspective of what they feel like standing in front of that room. And we always love to incorporate alumni judges. And now, since COVID, while our finals on the 10th are going to be in person, we also have our virtual rounds for both quarter and semifinals. So if you're like, okay, maybe I can't make it to New York, but I'd really like to, review students' plans and give them some feedback, you can do that online now. So I will include information for that in that follow-up as well. So I want to pause here, and I will share all of this information, but if there were any questions or thoughts while we're still in the group here, we've got Rob, me, and Dulce Marie here to address anything that you might be wondering about.
I do have a further question about the fellowship.
Okay.
How does that work? And you said college age, like can you explain that a little bit more?
That's a really good question. I want to make sure that I get the right details. Rob, would you mind speaking to that? He's seen a couple more fellows than I have.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It comes without saying that our alumni programs are really pretty widespread. At different times in NFTE's history, I've been with NFTE for about 7 years, 7.5, over 2 different time periods. Sometimes we get opportunities to place NFTE alums as interns with some of our corporate partners, like Moody's or SAP or things like that. On occasion, we also are able to bring on NFTE alums as our own interns at NFTE, most recently through a grant through the City Foundation. So alums are able to register for that. Typically what they do is they help us a lot with our summer programs, camps, Startup Summer sometimes is our incubator program. They can help us by doing market research if a region is looking for kind of growth or innovation opportunities. It's typically a 6 to 8 week placement. We target typically kind of the college age students because they're the ones that are kind of building more of their network and their portfolio. But I don't think there's any age requirement. I do think they have to be 18 and over, just from a liability point of view. But those are open. During the pandemic, we did them virtually because obviously we weren't doing a lot of in-person programming. Now that we're back to doing more of that in-person piece, I think a lot of our regions, and all of our regions do this. So here in our Mid-Atlantic region, we get 2 NFTE fellows. Our New England region, which is up in Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, they get 1. Our South Florida team gets a couple. Our South team gets a couple. Our Midwest team, which operates primarily out of Chicago, but they're really growing pretty quickly, they get a couple. So I would say if it's something that's interesting to anybody, definitely follow up and look at the information that Julianne's going to share via that link. Because depending on what the needs of the region are, that might be a really good indication of how alums can kind of, support the work that we're doing. It changes year to year a little bit based on what our priorities are, what kind of partnerships we have. But it's a really cool opportunity to have some really amazing alums kind of give back, help this kind of next generation of NFTE students. And then we're obviously really happy that we're able to put some funding behind it. So it's a paid position. We know there's too many young people out there being asked to take intern opportunities and not getting compensated for their time and for their work. So we're glad that it's a paid opportunity as well.
Anything else we can address kind of while we're here together? And I'm always, by the way, we are always available for further questions at any later time. So don't feel like you have to know everything now. I'm happy to get on the phone or on an email anytime.
And real quickly, as we kind of conclude and then wrap everything up, I'm just going to stop recording here because obviously as we kind of finish up, but a big thank you for this. We're going to send this recording out. So even for a lot of alums who maybe couldn't have joined us tonight, we think this is going to be a really inspiring thing for them to be able to review and watch and just think about some of the topics and some of the questions that we brought to all of your attention tonight. And then obviously, as we look to do more of these in the future, whether it's another virtual event like this, or if it's an in-person opportunities, hopefully we'll share this far and wide, even with current NFTE programs, to share current NFTE students, because overall, whatever we can do to help support our alumni base, that's really our goal with our ACLT work. So let me go ahead and stop this recording and then we can just finish up.